Hello everyone and welcome back to my library. This week on my list we're doing a list of fantasy. We've got some urban and traditional fantasy on here. We've also got some young adult books as well as the definitely more mature audiences. This week we're starting off with a fan favorite. I know this book is very, very popular and with very good reason, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I've read this one and I absolutely fell in love with it. In the book, you've got this woman who is an assassin, and she is in the worst prison possible, and she's given the opportunity to escape if she competes in a competition where throughout it people keep dying, and you've got this whole stalking evil thing going on. So there's a lot of fun stuff happening. I really enjoyed the book. There's also some romance in there, and I actually found that it was one of the better ones, or at least I felt it was. So if you haven't read this series, I definitely suggest reading it. I've got a couple other series on my list of to-be-reads that she has done that just sound really cool. So yeah, definitely worth looking into. The next one on my list is one that I have read as well that I absolutely love. This is more for a young adult audience, although still love reading these books because they are just that well done. And that is Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Reed. Oh man, this is everything I loved growing up. This is everything I wanted to be growing up. So you basically have this princess who is a total tomboy, who is smart, she's headstrong, and she is most definitely bored, and she decides she's going to go live with dragons, as you do. In the process, she ends up finding the family and excitement that she absolutely was looking for. I really, really love how wonderful the relationships were done in this book. I felt that the humor was fantastic, and it had some more serious elements, but they were never in your face. They always gave you a little more with humor mixed in, but they were definitely there, and I felt definitely necessary. So really well done series of books. My next one is a series where I absolutely am a massive fan of this author. I haven't read this series yet, but I have read the series that follows it and was absolutely in love with. So same world, just different main character. And this one is Alana, the First Adventure by Tamara Pierce. If you have not read Tamara Pierce, you are missing out. She is fantastic. 100% one of my favorite authors of all time. So in this one, there's a girl and her brother, and they don't like the lives that have been set out for them. They choose to follow their own path. However, she wants to be a knight, but girls aren't allowed, and he wants to do magic, but he's supposed to be a knight. So they switch, and she runs off dressed as him in order to achieve her goals. All of Tamara Pierce's books are really well done when you look at how the story flows and the major adversity that the characters have to overcome. I just think these are fantastic books, and everything she's written that I've read I've absolutely loved. So I will fangirl about this author quite frequently, just saying. I will probably do a review on one of her series or one of her books at some point in the future, so look forward to it. All right, this next one I have not read, but it sounded so cool, and that is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. And in this one, you have a potential murderer who is about to be executed, and she's given the opportunity to save her own life if she'll become the food tester for the commander of Ixia. Which, okay, reasonable. There's some danger there, but, it could be a good thing. However, his chief of security decides that he needs some insurance that this woman will actually do her job and follow the rules and be a good girl, and so gives her poison, and she has to see him every day to get the antidote. This is where I would have serious problems if it were me, where I would most definitely go find HR. But yeah, it just sounds like a really interesting story. So this has gone to the top of my to be read pile because I just was so excited when I read the description. I got to read this book. All right, the next one I have read, and it's called Moon Called by Patricia Briggs. If you have not read these books, these are fairly popular with good reason. This story is about a coyote shifter who's just trying to get by, but the supernatural world will not leave her alone whether she wants it to or not. And she gets pulled into problem after problem after problem that she has to solve. All she wants to do is work on Volkswagen vehicles as a mechanic because that's her day job and, live her life. But, geez. But I have to say this is one of the better romances as well, although I think that the story would have been fine without it. It's one of those that feels same old to me, in that a lot of these urban fantasy supernatural books, the romance feels forced often, like it has to be there because that's expected. I would be perfectly content to have no romance and just people doing their thing, getting by in a crazy supernatural world when it's not expected. So, but like I said, this one, not bad, was pretty well done. All right, we've got another one I have not read before, but it sounded kind of cool. Sabre by Garth Nix. This one is where a girl is sent to boarding school, and during her final semester, her dad goes missing. Apparently he's gone somewhere in some ancient kingdom place, and she has to go and find him. I'm not entirely sure why that would be the first thing that comes to mind to look for him in, but apparently that's the first thought that popped into her head for, I'm sure, a reason. Find out if I read the book. Still, lots of adventure, lots of excitement. It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. The next on my list I have read, and if you have not read it, you are missing out. His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. Oh man, this series will bend your brain into a pretzel, and then it will re-pretzel it. It made me question so many things, and it got me thinking about situations and life that outside of the books themselves, which I think is probably the purpose. And I can't be the only one who loved it because it became a movie as well. So yeah, incredible series of books. I highly recommend it if you don't mind questioning life, the universe, and everything. Give it a look. Really well done. All right, next on my list is another Tamara Pierce book series that looked so amazing to me. This is definitely going to be one of those that I pick up soon, and that is Wild Magic. And this one's another one of those young adult coming-of-age books. And I feel that it just sounded fun because you've got this girl who's just known for being good with animals and horses. And through the book, you learn that it's not just because she's good with animals. It actually is magic, and they listen to her. And I love the idea of that story. And I am definitely getting this one. Because, I mean, animals, adventure, magic. What's not to love, right? Right? Okay, the next one on the list is one that I have read, and I really enjoyed this series. So, that is Green Rider by Kristen Britton. This is a really cool story. You have a girl on her way from school, and she's fully expecting she's going to end up expelled. So she's already in some pretty low spirits. And as she's going through the forest, she sees a horse carrying a green rider full speed, and he is injured and dying. So he's bearing a life or death message for the king, and he begs her to take up the mission so that this really important information gets where it needs to go quickly. now she's facing assassins as she's navigating this deadly and dangerous landscape, and she has to get there before it's too late. It's just, I just love it. I love, love, love this series. I stumbled across it quite unexpectedly, and I could not put it down when I started reading it. So if you haven't read it, definitely recommend you have a look. All right, and finally, another one that I did read and fell in love with. So this is another one that's in my young adult series that I really fell in love with when I was younger, and that is the Black Magician Trilogy by Trudy Canavan. So during a purge of undesirables in the slums, basically, of the city, the Magicians Guild goes about cleaning people out they don't like. A rock manages to get through their magical shield. And this gives life to their deepest, darkest fears, because that means that someone who is not already a part of their ranks possesses strong enough magic to have gotten through. I felt this was one of the best young adult stories that I stumbled across when I was younger. Just by dint of the fact of how well it was written and the character development involved, it was just absolutely phenomenal. I really, really loved the main character, and there's actually some romance in it, but it's not immediately apparent, so it's a slow burn romance, and I love those. I think those are better because it's not the, oh, I met you, oh, I'm in love with you kind of thing. I really like a little more effort put into the creation of these relationships. All in all, really fantastic series, and if you haven't stumbled across it before, have a look. It's wonderful. All right, everyone, that is my list of 10. I hope that there's something in here that tickles your fancy. I know that there's certainly books in here that tickled mine. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend. I will see you on Wednesday. May your day be epic, and may awesomeness follow you like a puppy needing hugs. Bye all.